Hey guys, thanks for joining me today for the final prompts of No Sew Journal November, hosted by the lovely Meg over at Meg Journals. And I can't quite believe we're already here at the end. It feels like we only started this project a week ago, and suddenly we are closing the last pages of this accordion journal. Time in the crafty world really does move in its own way, doesn't it? Sometimes fast, sometimes slow, but always in that wonderfully textured, scrappy rhythm. So before we get stuck in, just a little heads up, I will be doing a final flip through of all the pages in this accordion art journal, so a proper close-up, gentle stroll through everything we've made this month. So if you enjoyed seeing how all the pages flow together, do keep an eye out for that video coming soon. So these were the final prompts that I've worked on: light and shadow, vintage vibes, stitched border, half an image, earthy tones, negative space, old letters, and finishing touches. And that's quite a lovely set of prompts to finish on. It's a little poetic in their own way, almost like they're just inviting us to pause, take a breath, and reflect on everything we've been creating through the month. The contrasts, the textures, the memories, and of course, all the mess on our crafty desks. And I didn't have intentions of working through all the prompts in order, but it just kind of happened that way. And so I just did in the end. I was going to just kind of pick and choose. So I'm finishing up this accordion journal today, and for the first couple of pages I really wanted to go gentle, and sometimes when I know I'm nearing the end of a project I feel this pull to cram in everything, all the scraps, all the layers. But this time I felt called to go a bit lighter, and maybe that's the light and shadow prompt speaking to me. So I started by doing some very light decorating, nothing too heavy, just some black paint and white gesso brushed around some images that I stuck down. And right in the middle there you can see some Amazon packaging paper, one of those bits that you don't expect to love but suddenly becomes the star of the page, giving it some character. And don't we all love working with packaging? And to bring in the half an image prompt, I went to a vintage herbal A to Z book. I don't think it's technically an Edith Holden book, but I think the illustrations are hers. I think it's like some sort of posthumous collaboration, like the book was created using her artwork after her time. And there's something quite sweet about that, isn't it? Almost like her artistry continues to live on in unexpected corners. But I've got a few of those books that I think it's like, I showed it to you a minute ago on the thing, I think it's like Edith Holden and somebody else, but it was published after she died. So I cut out one of the herb illustrations and split it neatly in half that you can see there. And I will be sticking one half onto the packaging paper and using the other half later. But I leave the majority of this page pretty open, lots of negative space with just some hints of colour coming through from the paint. And I'll be adding a bit of dark green, bringing in those earthy tones. I just rewound back just to have a look at the book when I showed it to you on screen, so I don't have it handy. And it is a country diary book, so it is like officially Edith Holden. But it's by Sarah Hollis, and I think she then uses some Edith Holden stuff. So because the prompts included old letters, I went digging in my little stash, you know, the stash that you swear you're saving for the perfect moment, and then the perfect moment never comes until it suddenly does. And I found this old letter, took bits of it, tearing them up and sticking them down throughout various areas of the spread. And I love how those real pen strokes give that bit of past realness, like whispers of another time. And then after that, I pulled out all the remaining scraps I had left for this project. And it's funny, I always think I'll use everything, and I always end up with more than I expect. And I ripped and tore and fussy cut a few bits that looked like they might fit. So some flowers, landscapes, little peaceful images. Some of them made it onto the pages, some of them returned to the maybe later pile. And the life cycle of scraps, as we know, is endless. I swear it never goes down. They might get a little bit smaller, but the pile never goes down. And then what I think is the star of the show, a super cute kitten picture that I tore from a calendar, and it's a little tuxie just like my cat. And the moment I saw it, I thought, oh yeah, that's going in. So now within this journal I have a frog, a dog and a kitten, and there he is. How cute. Proper little menagerie tucked between the pages, and it makes me smile every time I flip through and see those little animals. So cute. So once the main bits were down, I will be moving back to the stencil that I used earlier in the journal and putting some white gesso through it. But before we do that, we've still got quite a few little bits of scraps and things that I wanted to incorporate in. And I put that little say hello quote next to the kitten, like he's saying hello to you. It's popping up. So now I'm going to start doing the gesso in through the stencil. And in some places it pretty much worked, in others not so much. I think it's because, you're all going to hate me for this, but my brushes I had just kind of left in their little ramekins with the paint, and I hadn't cleaned them, so they were all really hard, so I couldn't like get nice brush strokes through the stencil. So I used that glue spreader instead, and it didn't really work. But that's okay. And then in some other places it didn't work at all, so that's crafting, isn't it? Sometimes something doesn't land, and just instead of fighting it, you just got to wipe it away and let whatever's left behind become part of the texture. So the gesso that stayed just will be knocking back some of the images a little bit, softening everything into the background. Unfortunately, don't think you can actually see that bit because I had to go slightly off screen because my pages were wet from all the paint, so I had to try not to fold them up or let them also get paint all over my carpet and furniture. But here I am now, just messing it up and then fixing it. And then in a second, because I forgot about one of the prompts until practically the very end, I added a hand-stitched border just in the corner using brown embroidery thread back onto that Amazon packaging page, and it brought in those earthy tones again, tying the prompt list together. And because the other side of that page that I do it on, I'll show you in a second, is mostly black and white, the brown thread poking through gives this lovely unexpected contrast, and it even ended up hinting unintentionally at the pattern clash prompt from earlier in the month. And that was it really. That's the final prompts, the last layers, the last textures, and the last little whispers added into this accordion journal. So I really hope you enjoyed what I made for No Sew Journal November. It's been such a beautiful challenge, gentle, inspiring, and full of little moments of discovery. And I always find that these prompts from Meg teach me something about my own process. They slow me down just enough to notice what I enjoy, what I reach for instinctively, what colours I'm drawn to, and how much joy I get from simple scraps and textures. And don't forget, I will be back with that proper close-up flip through of the whole accordion journal. I'm really excited to show you it in its finished form, because it's just satisfying to see all the pages flowing into one another. But if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. It really helps my little channel grow. And if you're not subscribed yet, please do consider hitting that button. If you are subscribed, thank you so much. Your support truly means the world. But thank you all for watching today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. I'll be back soon with something else. And in the meantime, just check out what I've done. Bye.